After the democratic restoration in April 2006, the army was sent to barracks, and we sensed an apathy in Nepal's security systems with the armed police force and Nepal police. We have noticed that in the last 3 years, the human rights violations have seen a rise, and several journalists have been killed during this time, and which has blocked press freedom. Have you taken this issue seriously?
This is one that was particularly highlighted in our most recent human rights report that is a worldwide activity, but in the Nepal report, we took it very, very seriously, particularly the attacks on the journalists. I visited Janakpur not too long after the Uma Singh murder. I do not believe that the court case has proceeded in that, and I think all of those who are looking for justice as a result of these horrendous deaths are expecting the court system to react, to the police and others to proceed with the cases. There have been a number of those. Presses have been attacked during my time here, and in each case we have tried to indicate that this is not what we consider to be democracy, that press freedom is a cornerstone of the ability of people to have information on which they can act, to make their vote, to make their voices known. And so we have been trying to work with the journalists to strengthen their professional ethics and to make them better journalists, but also to help Nepalis protect the journalists and to understand how important this is to democratic development.
On one hand, the security mechanism of Kathmandu International Airport is vulnerable. On the other hand, over the last 3 years, we have seen a rise in the small armed forces at the border, Nepali border. Do you see this connection as a huge security threat in the future for the entire South Asian region?
I don't know that there's an immediate connection, but I think all of Nepal should be taking a look at the airport on any number of ways. It is the face for most of your visitors that come in, and it is not always the best face forward for Nepal. So building up those facilities, making sure that they work expeditiously, that people are handled in and out, would be a big boost to the tourism industry. Certainly there is at least one terrorism incident that has originated at the Tribhuvan airport, and all of us take that seriously and believe that any airport in the world can be used for those kinds of activities, and if it is known that there is lax security, it increases the chance for a repeat of what happened earlier. The groups in the Terai are troubling. I think primarily for me, they are troubling for what they do to their neighbors. They are making it very, very difficult to have a normal life in the Terai. There are constant bans. There is a huge amount of extortion going on, disruption of business. People cannot maintain their factories, and then they let the workers go who no longer have salaries. So all of these things are very troubling as a result of these groups. Increasingly, they appear to have an upper hand, and we have seen in other parts of the world where this happens, you begin to have other groups that are not indigenous, perhaps to Nepal, take advantage of the vacuum that's created in a secure border between India and Nepal. Could be exploited by others. That would be very, very unfortunate. I think we are trying to encourage regional partners to look at this issue, for the Nepal government to improve the delivery of justice and law and order in the Terai. And these are going to be key issues for Nepal to address.
Your Excellency, we'll continue with our conversation after our short break. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Power Talks. We're in conversation with Her Excellency Nancy Powell, the Ambassador of the United States to Nepal. Your Excellency, the sudden change in Nepal's government has sidelined the focus of constitution drafting. Will there be a positive pressure from international community to make the drafting of constitution a #1 priority?
All of the international community would like to see the focus returned both to the peace process, and certainly the Constitution is a very important part of that. But that pressure really needs to come from the Nepalis. The concern of citizens here to their government officials that they consider this to be very, very important will be much more effective than what the international community says about it.
During the last 5 decades, Nepal has restored democracy several times, and despite the fact there are huge disparities within our societies. How important is it that this issue of inclusiveness is mentioned in the Constitution, where Madhesis, Janjat, Adivasis, Dalits, and the women population are given equal rights and opportunities?
I think from our own example in America, we know that having it in our Constitution and as part of the amendments that we've made to our Constitution is a very, very important part of the basis for using the judicial system, using our executive orders in order to implement programs that help make inclusiveness and equality a reality. But we also recognize that it is an ongoing process. We continue to struggle with this. My grandmothers could not vote when they turned 21. Women didn't have the right to vote in America at that time. There continue to be, in my childhood, most African Americans did not have the right to vote, or they could not exercise that right. These are changes that have occurred over the past few years, but we continue to struggle with this. I think Nepal will also need very strong political leadership. It will need both the laws and the principles in the Constitution, but it needs to also be a change in people's attitudes to recognize the necessity of equality as part of a real democracy in Nepal.
Recently, we celebrated the World Refugee Day. How has the third country settlement plan for Bhutanese refugees in the U.S. progressed?
I think we're seeing a very successful program underway now. This is largely due to the cooperation of the government of Nepal, UNHCR, and then a small group that's called the Core Group of countries. But overwhelmingly, the United States has settled the greatest number of refugees, but we have 6 other countries that are involved, and all of us have taken refugees. In the economic downturn, it's a challenge to find and make sure that people have jobs, but I was very heartened last week to see the World Refugee Day presentation that UNHCR made of photographs showing people adapting in the United States. They had jobs, the kids were in school, they had nice houses to live in, and this is quite a contrast to the very stark conditions they've had for the last 17 years in the camps. Not only the physical conditions, but just very, very big limits on their dreams and their hopes for a real life. And so I think whether they've settled in Australia or Norway or the Netherlands or the United States, these refugees are beginning a new life now, and particularly for the children. I think this is really very, very exciting. And I think the numbers are up around 19,000 now, with another 74,000 that have indicated they would like to be considered for resettlement. We will be working through those. It'll take a number of years, but we look forward to helping all of those who want to resettle in a third country.
In that context, is there any chance that Tibetan refugees might be offered a similar plan in the future?
I think there are a number of differences between the two populations. I wouldn't completely rule it out, but it's not part of the current plan for the Tibetans.
There was a mixed reaction from the Nepalese media regarding your recent Mustang trip. Do you have any comment on that?
I was very disappointed in several of the reports, which were totally inaccurate and almost hilarious in the degree to which they were inaccurate if it hadn't been damaging to the United States and our reputation here. I don't know what the motivation was, but it was a trip that was designed to provide me with an opportunity to see an area I had not seen before, to look at development and environmental issues in particular, and then to celebrate a project that we inaugurated last year in a grant to 2 communities to repair chortens that have been very badly damaged by time and the weather, and to respect the culture of Mustang. And so I don't know quite how those goals and those activities that were very consistent with those goals were misinterpreted so badly by newspapers that didn't bother to check their facts and reported some very misleading stories.